Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Romantic love doesn't need to be supercharged. I'm going to be hitting on some topics from a longer upload I made in response to an article called Sex-Free Marriage, anyone? It's talking about platonic marriage of all things. Welcome to the new trend for the wokies, marrying your best friend. Does that seem appealing to you, this sexless marriage, sex-free marriage? I don't think that is marriage at all. People have been trying to modify or make an idea of marriage that suits them, even though it goes against the grain of what has been the norm for a very long time. Please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea, where I talk about many things related to marriage. This is a 4M channel for mature, marriage-minded men. Today I want to talk about if an older couple can still have good romantic love. Is good sex just for the young? Make no mistake about it, when you marry, sex is an obligation. It is also a great pleasure and gift that a husband and wife give to each other. Here's a comment from the article that I will link in the description box, as well as a few other links. They say, or somebody says, everlasting and sexually supercharged romantic love is a myth. It exists only for Disney princesses. Of course, no one is supercharged romantically for the duration of their life or functionally. Why not get the getting while the getting is good? That's one of the benefits of marriage. Why even bring up that everlasting and sexually supercharged romantic love is a myth? Yes, it is eventually. Everything in the physical realm for all of us is in decline. Supercharged romantic love is a myth in general, but the younger you are, the more supercharged it may be. Isn't that a sensible time to get married? Ah, you say, but what do 18-year-olds know about love and responsibility? Probably not much, but they can be taught that, and they can pick that up in marriage, valid marriage, as they go. If all of us waited till we knew everything and were so-called perfectly prepared for something, we would run out of time. Personally, I hadn't had a relationship in forever. I married my wife in less than 8 weeks from almost 10,000 miles away and committed before even meeting her in person. We've been married over 6 years now. I knew some things, but still had to have a place to put to use what I had learned about marriage, which was marriage. As for romantic love doesn't need to be supercharged, what I am getting at is while it can start out on a high note, it will reach a crescendo before diminishing to something calmer and quieter. That is not something that should make us afraid to get married or unmotivated, but rather afraid to wait too long to get married. Our bodies, our health is in decline as the years go by. I am 59, and this sort of thing is on my mind now more than it ever used to be. We should always want to make our time count. We marry because the thrill of sex is great, and a good sex life is something to thank God for. Here's what I suggest to think about as we get older. A declining prowess, if you will, is completely normal and expected. How will that affect your marriage? That depends on what your expectations are, and I suppose how good your relationship is. While younger, the sheer pleasurable act of sex drives us to marry, and that goes for both genders. But after so many years of marriage and the years adding up, eventually it is less frequent than it used to be. We may not even end up thinking about it that much someday. The important thing to know is that this need not diminish the emotional intimacy between a husband and wife, something that players or those who don't get married cannot relate to. I think after you have exhausted your vitality, your relational intimacy should be at a high point and can even get better. You will have a lot of memories from your marriage, and I'd like to think that the time you have left together becomes even more precious. Does that make sense? I'm talking about something that we all will have to deal with should we live long enough. So, while being romantically supercharged can exist for a while, its decline needs to be accepted and the other aspects of the marriage appreciated a little more. The marriage isn't doomed, and neither should be our self-esteem. Marriage is the safest place for this natural decline in both sexes. Stay tuned for more marriage-minded videos for mature marriage-minded men right here on Love Beyond the Sea.